Let's go across to our guests joining us. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, Arshpreet Singh Kadial from the Congress Party, Riju Datta, spokesperson of the TMC, and Professor Dinesh Vashni, leader of the CPI, all joining us. Let me begin with Riju Datta. Riju Datta, not surprisingly, you've talked about CAA and NRC. But is the TMC also going to support other parties when it comes to issues like bringing back Article 35A, Article 370. What do you make of your India Bloc Alliance's promises that have come?
Look, let me be very honest. I am going to only speak about my manifesto, which is applicable, which we have promised to the country. Now, different parties in the India Bloc have different pointers in their manifesto that we will decide jointly after the result on 4th of June. But on our manifesto, we have clearly said that we will not let CAA implement in Bengal, definitely not NRC, and we will not go ahead with this UCC nonsense that the BJP has been talking about. Because India, the beauty and the ethos of India is diversity in unity. Different people from different culture, different religion, different language, different food habits, different hobbies. We are all united together in this beautiful nation called India, that is Bharat. And that is what BJP is against. So we are...
No, you're confusing the UCC. One second. You say UCC nonsense. I hope you know that UCC is a directive principle in the Indian Constitution. Also, you're talking about different food, different clothing, different lifestyle. The UCC has nothing to do with any of that. The UCC only has to do with laws that govern inheritance, adoption, marriage, etc.
Right. That it is exactly the same way. NRC has nothing to do with CAA as per the BJP. CAA is the head, NRC is the tail. They will put Hindus, Muslims, irrespective in detention camps. Look, I'll tell you this, Shivani, on your show. If people of Bengal, whose children are studying in the schools in India, who are working in this country, who are voting for BJP, TMC, Congress, CPI, whoever, they are voting and choosing their leaders and sending to them to the parliament. If they have the same ID cards as the Pradhan Mantri of this country, then they are citizens of India. Why this nonsense? Anyways, they are going to do 31,000 in the first place, they have said. So we do not believe in all this nonsense in dividing people. Everybody who resides in India, जिनका ये कर्मभूमि है, ये जन्मभूमि है, वो इस देश का नागरिक है, and we are not going to stick with this CAA, NRC, and UCC and all that. And UCC, when the Pradhan Mantri of this country, rather than talking about unemployment and price rise, when he says सावन में मछली खाने से आप हिंदू विरोधी हैं, मतलब one election, one nation, one party, one religion, one food habit, we are not going to go for this dictatorship, this moral policing.
Okay. I still would contend that UCC is a very different issue that needs to be looked at differently. It is a policy that is followed in all large major democracies. So to confuse that with some other political bits that you're talking about, I think it would be a little bit unfair to the concept of UCC. I take your point on CAA and NRC. There have been some concerns on what the joint effect of the two policies could be. But I want to go across to Dinesh Vashni as well. Dinesh Vashni, the thing that has stood out the most and possibly demands some sort of explanation from left parties is the dismantling of India's nukes. Now, obviously, the first question that will arrive in anybody's mind is, we are surrounded by Pakistan and China. China, of course, is nuclear powered, and Pakistan has tactical nukes. What are we going to do with this vision of dismantling our nukes?
Shivani, it is a principal policy of the communist parties all over the world to speak against the war. We are against the war.
What about China? Or is it not communist anymore?
By any nation on any nation. Excuse me?
What about China? China doesn't stand against war.
What I say? I said the same. Whosoever wage the war by one nation on another nation, we are against the war. And that is why we believe that the nuclear weapons must be dismantled. That is our principal policy throughout the world. War is never constructive. Peace is always constructive. It has to be understood in philosophical context. That is
but sir, philosophy doesn't work practically. One second, philosophy doesn't work in practical terms. I just mentioned how we're surrounded by enemical forces that are nuclear powered. What are we going to do when we are under threat? I mean, just till recently, Pakistan used to use that N bogey against us. and used to be so successful. I'm glad that that N bogey of theirs has been rubbished and buried. But if you were to give away your nukes, how are you going to stand up to some others in the world?
Whether it is Pakistan, whether it is China, whether it is America or any other nation, all we say that nuclear weapon must go away. These weapons are destructive. They have never caused any favor to the humanity. It is against the humanity, existence of humanity. That is why we say that, and everybody has to agree with this. People should agree with this. And there is a word, that is why the peace of the world is taught in the universities, not war of the world is taught in the universities. This is the philosophical understanding nation has to understand.
So even if other countries don't give up,
this, it will be very harmful.
Even if other countries don't give up their nukes, they keep talking about reducing their arsenal, but obviously that hasn't happened. And in the remotest chance that the left parties could really dominate a common minimum program, if you were to come together in a coalition government, you're saying India would go ahead and dismantle its nukes even if no other countries do? I wonder what the Congress feels about this.
No, Shivani. As far as India alliance coming to power and differences are concerned, that has to be solved by the common minimum program. That is what we did in the UPA 1 also and UPA 2 also. So common minimum program will be formed after the formation of the government, and UPA 1 brought a very good results for the economy, for the development, for the employment, for the manufacture in the country. Everybody knows it. And whatever the guarantee Modi ji is giving in the 76 pages of the BJP manifesto is all jumlas, proven jumlas.
Okay.
So
I'll go to the BJP manifesto in just a bit.